world full of Uniteds,
It is a magic moment from Heung-min Son!
cities,
Through to Lucas Moura!
and rovers.
Harry Kane! Oh, what a goal!
There is only one Hotspur.
Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur!
Hello and welcome back to the One Hotspur podcast. I am Toby from _Spurs Center, and today I'm joined by Bodie from Hotspur.vocal with a 1 instead of an L. How you doing, Bodie?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing quite well. Spurs just won. Things are starting to look up a little bit. It's an international break, so we don't have to watch Spurs for another week. But yeah, so Spurs 2-1 today. What were your thoughts from the match, and just general takeaways that you got?
I think some of the main things to point out was the way we grew into the game. We definitely, I feel like we looked like we were struggling at the start a lot. It seemed very cagey. There was no real outball. And Ndombele was trying his best, but they had a high press, and it was really difficult to get past. But I think throughout the game, the longer it got, the more tired the players got, and the more time we got on the ball, we were allowed to express ourselves more, and that ultimately led up to us getting the win. I think if they kept the pressure up, it could have went another way, but the fact that they didn't, I think it sealed the win for us. And overall, towards the end of the game with the performance, I was very happy with how we played.
Yeah, back on that Ndombele point, I'm a huge fan of Ndombele, but today was just really not his day. For whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but he just didn't really seem like he was able to get on the ball that much. When he did, he didn't really seem like he was doing anything. He had like his one moment where he took the ball, I think it was from the right side, and then pulled it in past a couple defenders, did a couple step overs, past another, and then had a shot on goal, which Martinez saved well. But other than that, he was pretty quiet. Didn't have a lot of influence on the match that you would expect from a player of his caliber. But hopefully international break, he gets rejuvenated, back into it, and he can come in against Newcastle and be the player we all expect him to be. But as long as we're going for the forwards, Lucas Moura, Kane, and Son all played today. Son was clearly the standout player with 2 assists, kind of. I don't think he was actually awarded the second one because it was counted as an own goal, which was really odd. But what a game from Son.
Yeah.
What do you think of him today?
He was definitely, in my opinion, it's between probably, 3 players for me in particular: Romero, Højbjerg, and Son. But for me, Son edges it as far as winning the Man of the Match award. I was very impressed with him, obviously, but how can you not? I mean, he's fantastic. But yeah, I was really pleased with how he played. I saw a lot of it. He was very lively. So it's nothing different to what he usually is. It was a very good game. I was very happy to see him play so as well as he did. I really hope he can keep that form up. I really hope he can keep going. And if he does keep going, well then, obviously it'll be a big help for us. I was about to say he could solidify a place in the starting 11, but he's obviously he's only a starting 11 player as it is. No, I was really happy with how he played. I really hope he puts more performances like that, because that's what we really need at this time.
Yeah, I think he's become more of a leader too. There was a few clips today after I think he laid the pass in for Lucas to score, that he was getting the crowd going. And then after all those teammates came over, him and Dyer just kind of had a moment, but they were just kind of screaming and hyping each other up, which I love to see that kind of thing. Moving through our forwards, though, I think Kane had a pedestrian display today. Not great, but I think there was signs of improvement at least. He was getting into the game a little more than he has previously, and I think at this point it's just we got to keep giving him minutes, and hopefully he forgets about Man City and can just focus on trying to get his form back for Spurs. And then actually I'll go to you. What do you think about Kane and the whole situation?
I honestly, for me personally, I think we should sell him.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think he had another very poor performance. The back heel, obviously that back heel was very nice, but I think
Mhm.
he's been so quiet, and I think, and it's not a coincidence that once Bergwijn got injured, that we've been having a poor run, because
Yeah.
Bergwijn was probably the most influential forward that was in our team, not scoring goals, but as far as
Mhm.
creating chances, he was our most
Yeah.
influential forward. And then when he gets injured, and then you have Kane, who is as quiet as a mouse in the night, it's just it's such a big you can really see the comparison in quality this season so far, and I
Mhm.
think and mark my words, right, because I definitely think once Bergwijn comes back, if Bergwijn doesn't get injured for the rest of the season when he returns, I reckon we will finish top four, and that's me being
Wow.
serious. I think Bergwijn will be one of the most influential players for us this season,
Mhm.
and the first three games it really showed.
Yeah.
Um, that we played, he was stuck in a challenge. He had very intensive work rate. He was all over the pitch, and I won't lie. I think he made Dele Alli look a bit better than what he actually is. Every time
Mhm.
Dele was looking for a pass in those first three games, he always found Bergwijn, and Bergwijn just worked his magic every time. It was just amazing to watch him
Mhm.
play. A player filled with bags of confidence, and he's doing good when even Premier League fans are saying, oh, he's I saw this post saying players that have flopped in the Premier League, and Bergwijn was one of them. And every single comment I saw was saying Bergwijn hasn't flopped. He's been a wonder player this season. And essentially, every single fan that I saw, even Arsenal fans, he said, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I would take Bergwijn in my team in a heartbeat. And
Mhm.
when you have even your rivals are saying how good he's been in this season so far, even in
Mhm.
the first three games, it really shows how much quality we can possess if the players put in the work, do it.
Mhm.
And I think Nuno is a manager that will really get the best out of Bergwijn, and it seems
Yeah.
as though he has. So I'm gonna keep it a lot shorter, but um, long story short, Bergwijn. I think Bergwijn replacing Kane when Bergwijn gets back will be the most key thing to us getting a win,
I
getting win.
agree. I agree. Bergvine should come back into the team, but I think he'll come back into the team for Lucas Moura. Um, and then
That'll disappoint me a lot.
maybe Sun goes out to the right side instead of the left. But
No, I
I
know. I
agree with
personally
you. Uh, I totally agree. Bergvine is a lot better for us, I think, than people realize. I have a few stats that I want to read out. Against Man City, Bergvine created the most chances of any player, including Man City players, on the field. Um, and that was 3 chances. Against Wolves, he created further 2 chances. And then against Watford, he won the free kick that Son scored off of. And then, he got called up for the Netherlands, picked up a knock, came back to Spurs, played against Rennes, picked up another lot. Rennes, I don't know. But picked up another knock, and now he's out again. Hopefully, he'll be back after the international break and fit to play against Newcastle. But I don't see Kane getting dropped as of right now. I agree we should sell him probably next summer. Anything like 100 million or over, I would take at this point. Um, but yeah, I think Bergvine's son Kane, I think, is what we'll see going forward. I'm trying to figure out. I think Bergvine plays a lot better off the left than he does coming off the right. So we'll see how that goes. I think against Watford, let's see. Yeah, against Watford, he played on the left and Son played on the right. So we'll see how that goes. But the other member of our forward three today, Lucas Moura, what do you think of him?
I think I think he had an average performance considering how good he can be. But
Mm-hmm.
it was by no means bad. I think he was actually pretty good. He
Mm-hmm.
done a lot off the ball, but on the ball, he seemed like he couldn't really come up with anything.
Yeah.
I think that's just down to a very high press from
Mm-hmm.
Villa, which you wouldn't expect from a team like Villa, considering last season they had this. They were halfway through the season, or I think towards the end of the season, they had the second best defensive record, and probably still be one of the better defenses in the league. So to see them play such a high press probably caught Spurs off guard a bit, which is why it
Yeah.
took us such a long time to get involved in the game. But
Mhm.
I think once we did start to get stuff going, I think Mora was very influential in a lot of attacks that we were involved in. So I
Mhm.
think he played pretty decent. I hope to see more from him.
Mhm.
Um, I hope to see him play even just a little better. But obviously,
Yeah.
it's a 2 win, and I'm not really going to be complaining over players when we've just won.
Yeah.
It's always going to be more criticism rather than hating on a player when you win. But
Mhm.
yeah, I do hope to see him work on a bit of passing and shooting. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, we'll see. We'll just see till next game, and hopefully he performs even better than what he did this game.
Mhm. Yeah, I think for me, Lucas, I didn't think he was great today by any means. I think he looked to do what he does really well in some cases, what he did really well against Man City, both in the first game of the season and the Carabao Cup final last season, which is, picking up the ball um, closer in our half, closer, like picking it up off the defenders and then charging forward, like those kind of half turns that he does. Um, but like those like U-shaped runs that he makes that always seem to bamboozle defenders, but didn't work at all on Aston Villa today. Every time he got on the ball, they just seemed to crowd him out. I don't think he had really any super meaningful contributions other than tapping it in from Son's cross. But uh, yeah, other than that, I didn't think he was anything special today. I was surprised that Brian Heel didn't come on for him sooner, but oh well. Moving back, I thought Højbjerg and Skip were excellent today. Højbjerg in particular, especially after all the criticism he got. Trying to think of which game it was against, but a lot of backlash came after the. I think it was after the Arsenal game. He got a lot of backlash, and I understood some of it, but I think people took it over the edge. There was like one guy on Twitter saying Spurs are better without Højbjerg, and that's just clearly not true. We look at utter mess when we don't have him in midfield. We saw that last season. Um, but yeah, I thought Skip and Højbjerg together, I think, is a combination to go forward with. You were right. Last beginning of last season, you were talking about when Skip would come back, he was going to start next to Højbjerg, and I think it's really, really solid. I think it allows Højbjerg to go farther off the pitch. Today we saw him grab a goal. I mean, I think he can have more influence in the final third of the season than he did last season. Um, which last season he was our fourth highest goal contributor behind Bale, Kane, and Son. So hopefully this season he can show us a little bit more of that. And yeah, what were your thoughts on Højbjerg and Skip?
A very strong performance, obviously. Højbjerg in particular, he scored a very nice goal. Those goals that just roll into the corner. They're always
Mhm.
the most satisfying ones for me.
Yeah.
He took it very well. He didn't really need much power. He just knew where to place it, and he placed it very well.
Mhm.
And also defensively, he kept him and Skip. They add so much shape, and it's not even about balance. It's about keeping a structure, and
Mhm.
it's like, and when you play a team, you want to have a structure to where you look at the team, and you think, and you know exactly what formation they're playing, because it's at times
Yeah.
when you see stuff and they look all over the place, and you're like, what team are they playing? Are they playing a 3-4-3? Are they playing a 9-2-6? Like, and it's just but I think Hoiby and Skip together, the best thing about them is they add the structure, and the structure is something we lacked so much.
Mhm.
It's just that bit of a like uh it's just I don't know the exact word to describe it, but it's just it's what we've been missing. And
Mhm.
Skip and Hoiby together, Skip giving that extra cover on the right flank makes one less thing for Højbjerg to worry about, and that obviously makes Højbjerg feel a lot more comfortable knowing he doesn't have to worry about the right side, because
Yeah.
knowing that he has a capable young holding midfielder that can learn from Højbjerg and also plays very well anyways. Skip defensively is just as good as Højbjerg. On the
Mhm.
ball, Højbjerg's a bit better in my opinion, which would obviously be why Højbjerg would be the better player. But
Mhm.
I think in the tackle, both defenders are equally as capable, and they have very good movement, which is something that obviously we've missed a lot.
Mhm.
Which is really good that we have now. And it's
Yeah.
not just like this game, but it's every game that we needed the two skips and Højbjergs, and I just knew because I thought Højbjerg on his own, it looks he's a great defender and all, but no CDM of any quality, not even Kante, would be able to hold off all the players at once when you have defenders such as Dyer playing at his worst. So
Yeah.
having Skip next to him has really helped them out, and I'm really glad to see them doing well together. And I hope they keep doing well together because, the last thing you'd want is for us not to be creating enough chances, then one of them has to get benched, like how we
Mhm.
saw where Skip got benched and for Delhi, and they've tried to think maybe Delhi and Delhi and Ndombele could supply some creativity. Because Bergwijn was obviously playing along. Nuno was trying to figure out how he could substitute enough creativity, but obviously it just did not work at all, and that's how we got thrashed against
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Mhm.
So it's good to see, it's good that he knows now that Skip and Højbjerg is the established partnership in the midfield, and I hope to see them play every game for the rest of the season with maybe Højbjerg Lo with them.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they were. I think they're, our pairing for the future. Alistair Gold, who I think most Spurs fans know pretty well, the journalist, has said that he thinks Spurs should be looking to build their midfield around Oliver Skip, and I completely agree. His class is just beyond his years, and this is his first season in the Premier League, and he's forced his way into Spurs starting 11, which admittedly wasn't too hard considering our other option is Harry Winks in that squad. But he's only 21 years old, and I think there's still a lot of room for him to improve. But like for where he is right now, I think there's a player in there that the rest of the league should be scared of. So yeah, I think him and Højbjerg and Lo Celso maybe will be our starting 11 for the next match. Or I think Dombele has a lot of potential as well. His talent is like undeniable, but we just have to work on seeing that talent more consistently, which has always been his issue. But yeah, you mentioned Dyer and Romero in the back and how Skip was helping them. I think Romero was excellent today. I think Dyer was very good today as well. But I want to see Romero and Rodon play together. I think those two, I think they were very good against Mira, which obviously, a team from a Slovenian league would be disappointing if we didn't see them playing very well together in that game. But I think there are two most consistent defenders. Romero, obviously, great defender, best defender in Serie A last year. And Rodon, I think Rodon was our best defender last season, ahead of maybe Alderweireld was ahead of him, but Dyer and Sanchez were so mistake prone last season. I think that Rodon and Romero is the future. And then we can have the back line of Reguilon, Rodon, Romero, and Royale, which, speaking of Royale, I thought he was very good today as well. But what are your thoughts on Romero and Dyer, or potentially bringing Rodon into the squad?
I'm not sure about Rodon. I think Rodon's a very good defender, but I think he's still inexperienced. I think
Mhm.
if we wanted to see him do amazingly, I don't think he's ready to be able to get in consistent game times in the Premier League. Not game times, game time. But
Mhm.
I reckon if we loaned him out, a team like Burnley like any team for a big defender like Rodon, any team like Burnley suits the player.
Mhm.
Because they don't have a fantastic back line, but they have a specific play style that is designed to develop defenders into very strong, capable, experienced players.
Mhm.
And that's why, I think Rodon and Romero could be the future. But at the minute, I just feel like with Rodon's inexperience and Romero still adjusting to the Premier League, it's just not something that I could see working out short term at
Mhm.
least. I'd rather
I do see
see
that.
I'd
What you're saying.
rather see Romero and at the minute Sanchez, in my opinion.
Oh, I completely disagree.
Tanganga Romero. Yeah, so I think Sanchez has been very good when he's played this season so far. I go based off of who I think has played well, and I think Sanchez, with how he's played, he deserves a spot. And I think Sanchez and Romero really balance each other out because I think
Oh.
Romero's a more gritty kind of centre back, and I think Sanchez is more passive, good in the air, and he hasn't made mistakes this season. So I think you can, if you look at it from that perspective, I think you could understand why I'd want to choose that. But I do think for
Mhm.
long term, Rodon and Romero could be the option, just not yet for me.
Yeah. For me, I think if it's not going to be Rodon and Romero, and you made a good point of Rodon's inexperience in the Premier League and Romero also inexperienced in the Premier League, maybe it makes more sense to go with Dyer or Sanchez. But I think Sanchez and Romero would be a recipe for disaster, which maybe is a bit harsh. But I think they're too similar in that Romero likes to push forward, and he does it very well, so it works. But Sanchez, we've seen him; he likes to push forward as well, but it doesn't work out for him as often as it works out for Romero. So I think we just have to. We have to partner them with someone like Dyer or like Rodon who will sit back and then cover for them. I think that's something that we've seen in a lot of like world-class center back partnerships throughout the years. I think Rafael Varane and Sergio Ramos is the best example where Sergio Ramos would push forward and then Varane would cover. But I just think that Sanchez and Romero, they're too similar. They're both too aggressive pushing forward, which is why I prefer to see Dyer there. And I think that Sanchez isn't enough of a leader. I think Dyer is more of a leader that could help Romero settle a little quicker, and then maybe we could bring Rodon in after that. But yeah, I'm not convinced about Sanchez and Romero playing together. But
I completely understand the point you're making. So for me personally, I feel like Dyer's just he's got, if Dyer, right? Dyer's got that kind of, he balances Romero out, right, with the way he plays. But Dyer's just not the quality that of a top Premier League side, and that's the thing though. If he did have that quality with his play style and if he had the good quality, he would be a top defender that would partner Romero. But because he doesn't have the quality, that's why we've been looking for someone. We've been looking amongst people to partner him, and I don't think Rodon has that passiveness that we're looking for yet with his inexperience. Obviously, because he'd be more safe. He'd feel more safe, to be more comfortable on the ball in the championship or whatever else.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's a higher tempo, which is why I think I'd want to loan him out to a smaller team where he would get guaranteed game time and guaranteed experience.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think I've noticed Sanchez go up that much. I don't know if I've never really noticed him do it much. I was thinking. I was thinking.
I give you
I was
this
thinking.
season he hasn't done it as much, but like.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying Rodon, Sanchez, and Romero, because I haven't seen him do anything. Well, I've obviously every player makes mistakes, but I've never seen him make a costly mistake at all this season. And
yeah, well, I mean, he's only played 4 games, so.
Yeah, but 4 games can define a player's future in that season a lot. I'd like to see Tanganga, Romero, and Sanchez and Reguilon. I think Emerson was great, but I think that I don't understand why Nuno hasn't decided to try and make a back three more. I understand that the whole idea is to create a back four, but I feel like for Romero to settle into the Premier League, to settle in better, I think it'd be better to have him familiar with for him to be more familiar with a formation in a new league. Like it'd be the same if you're
You
in
saw
the
the game
same
today,
league.
right?
Huh?
You watched the game today, right?
Yeah, no, obviously I watched
He
the
looked
game.
perfectly comfortable in a back four.
Yeah, but he still needs to get settled. It's just it's not one game and then he's that's it. He has to keep playing. Which is why I want to see I still want to see the back three, because realistically, if they kept that high tempo press, they could have beat us. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. I think Romero's not ready to get straight into a back four, so I'd like to see him either.
I disagree. I don't think the back three is the way to go. I think we're already struggling to create chances, and I think getting rid of a forward or a midfielder is not the solution. I think Romero's looked very comfortable. He looks very good against Chelsea. We conceded 3, but none of those were the defense. That was all midfield. He was very good against Wolves, and then he was very good against Aston Villa today, and all of those were in a back four. I don't think back three is the way to go. I think Emerson is more comfortable in a back four, and Tanganga is also much more comfortable in a back four if we're playing with right backs. Doherty, I'm sorry, I'm giving up on him. He's played in a back five with us. He's played in back three with us. He's played in a back four with us. It's just not working. Reguilon can do a back five, but I think he's more comfortable in a back four. But then that leaves us with space for two midfielders and three forwards, or three midfielders and two forwards, which either makes us lose Bergwijn. If we're going with what we were saying earlier, makes us lose most likely Bergwijn out of the front three, and then we play with Højbjerg, Skip, and Lo Celso, or makes us lose Lo Celso and we play with Højbjerg, Skip, and then Bergwijn, Kane, and Son, which we've already seen we struggle to link up with the forwards. So I don't think that dropping a winger or dropping an attacking midfielder is the solution. I think that would just make us, less creative, and I think that would ultimately lead to us just sitting back more. But what do you think?
No, I mean, I've said what I need. I've said what I said what I think. Clearly we're in a disagreement, so there's not really anything we can do about it. I'm not going to convince you, and you're not going to convince me. So I guess we'll just move on from that. But yeah. I do think we should move on with the back three.
Well, we've pretty much covered the whole team. Moving on into the international break, I do think it's a bit unfortunate that the international break is now. I think it would have been good for Nuno to start to build some momentum, especially beginning of the season was tough for him. Three in his first 6 matches, we played 3 of the big 6 and 4 London derbies. Or I'm sorry, 3 London derbies: Chelsea, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace. Oh, and Watford. Sorry, so 4 London derbies. But now we've got a little bit of an easier run. Actually, not. We don't really. We have Newcastle, which theoretically should be easy. But then we have West Ham, which will be tough. Then we have Man United. And then we have Everton, and then we go into the next international break. So, been a bit of a tough start for Nuno. But I think through the the Christmas period, we played Burnley, Norwich, Brighton, Leicester. Kind of pre-Christmas period is where we should really be looking to pick up some big points. And then Boxing Day, we have Crystal Palace, Southampton, and then Watford. And I think there again we should be looking to get 9 points. So, it's unfortunate for Nuno that we don't have just a run of Norwich, Watford, Crystal Palace at home, Newcastle at home. We're just kind of sprinkled in with some tougher matches along the way. But anything else you want to talk about today?
Well, I was just about to say, I actually think it's a good thing that he's had to go up against tough teams first, because it's really thrown him in the deep end, and I think it's shown what he can be capable of in the bigger games. Mm-hmm. I think while he may have struggled at some points, I do think it's because of I do genuinely think it's because with Bergwijn supplying our main source of creativity, he's been experimenting, trying to figure out how he can substitute that once it's gone, because it has been gone for the past 3 games before that, and that's why we've been losing, because he's been trying to figure out something, and I think he's finally figured out what it is. But it's just a shame that it's the international break. So the one, obviously, of course it was going to happen. The one game we win is going to be an international break again, so we lose all sense of momentum. That's just Spurs' luck. But I mean, for him to bounce back with another win, I'm very pleased with it. And to score in the first half, that's another big accomplishment this season. So
first half goal for Nuno this season, and first time we've scored more than 1 goal in the Premier League as well. Yeah.
So I hope we can come back, and hopefully Bergwijn will be back by the time it's all finished. It's all well and done, because I'd really like to see Bergwijn, Son, and Lucas again. I'd really want to see that again. Yeah. But, for now we'll go into the international break, and we'll come back, and I guess we'll just see what we can do.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have another injury crisis.
Yeah, hopefully, but there's nothing we can do about it. So
Yeah.
right, well, yeah, that's me.
Well, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. Remember to follow us on Twitter and on Insta at One Hotspur Pod. And remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. Only if it's 5 stars, though. Yeah, thank you again, and we'll catch you in the next one. Come on, you Spurs.